All right, folks, buckle up. This is going to be a doozy. As you know, I'm a little bit of a technophobe. I don't like a lot of social media. I think YouTube and a couple of the other places I go are more than enough to handle. My experiences with Facebook have been negative. My experiences with Twitter have been negative. And the one place I'm glad I've never gone, because it seems to be a complete fucking cesspit of garbage, is Reddit. And where else could be worse for a person like me who got into this whole political shenanigans extravaganza in late 2014 with the advent of anti-feminism and Gamergate, that the one of the places that I'm glad I avoided is r/gaming. So I'm going to blind read an article that was released on April Fool's Day, April 1st, and this is going to be a very long, very cringy article that we're going to read together, and this is going to make us all very angry and disgusted. Not April Fools. r/games is closed for April Fools. Find out why in here. This April Fools, we decided to take things a little bit more seriously and shed some light on a growing, pervasive issue that has affected the community of r/games and gaming communities as a whole. In recent times, it has come to our attention that what has been intended to be a forum for the potential spread of knowledge and involvement in video games has instead become a battleground. A battleground of conflicting ideas. Ordinarily, this isn't an issue. Discussion, by its very nature, is certain to bring argument, you don't say. But when that argument descends into vitriolic attacks, the first of many, many buzzwords to come, folks. But when that argument descends into vitriolic attacks between individuals on a regular basis with no chance of de-escalation, okay. No chance of de-escalation. It's called block the person. It's called ban the person, which, as you know, our games has no problem using that solution to many of their problematic posters. Or, turn your computer off. What do you mean, cyberbullet, nigga? Just turn the computer off. Just look away from the screen. But when vitriolic attacks between individuals occurs on a regular basis with no chance of de-escalation, I can't say this word, de-escalation, that's when, put simply, something's got to give. Though certain memes, such as Gamers Rise Up, surrounding gaming are largely viewed as a humorous interpretation of a mindset, yeah, it's called a joke. At the core of the humor is a set of very serious issues, buzzword, that affect all gaming enthusiasts. How pretentious. By showing disdain or outright rejecting minority and marginalized communities, we become more insular. In this, we lose out on the chance to not only show compassion. That's right, you poor minorities can't be treated as an equal. We can't argue with you like a normal person. We have to treat you like a child with cancer. We have to show you compassion. We have to send over John Cena to fulfill your make-a-wish, you fucking faggots. But also the chance to grow our own community and diversify the demographics of those involved in it. Whether it's misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, racism. God, I cannot stop singing all these buzzwords. Whether it's misogyny, transphobia, homophobia, racism, or a host of other discriminatory practices, now is the time to stymie the flow of regressive ideas and prevent them from ever becoming the norm. Now is the time to stymie, everybody, make sure, regressive ideas. Let me put my glasses back on and face the facts. Regressive ideas and prevent them from ever becoming the norm. We must censor them, and we must unperson the regressives. They are suppressive persons. At r/games, our community is becoming increasingly responsible for perpetuating a significant amount of these combative and derogatory schools of thought. We remove those comments. We ban the perpetrators of telling, if you say gamers rise up, motherfucker, you're a perpetrator. You be perpetrating, busta. And our community is becoming increasingly responsible for perpetuating a significant amount of these combative and derogatory schools of thought. We remove these comments, we ban the perpetrators, but the issue still persists at a fundamental level. The notion is that it's okay or acceptable to ridicule and demonize traditionally disenfranchised and marginalized members in the gaming community. That's not just an issue in r/games or on Reddit alone. This is an issue deeply embedded in the ranging depths of the internet, frequently in communities that center around the discussion of games. Holy shit, what a fucking awful first 3 paragraphs. We are in for it, folks. r/games is dead. Don't even fucking bother. This kind of shit right here is the same butthurt gay mod faggotry that caused me to mostly avoid forums, even though I was kind of in there at the advent of the internet. I was hanging around talking to people circa 2002, 2003 and shit. I realized rapidly that just about everybody on the internet was an asshole, and that just about anybody who had any power over any kind of forum was a faggot who abused his power. So I usually didn't go to places like this because this kind of behavior was always the norm. However, most of those mods were just like, I'm the mod, I do what I want. And we understood the power dynamic there. There was the mod, who is not a good guy. The mod is, at best, somebody who polices law and order on the forum, and most of the time, at worst, is just a fucking douchebag with swinging dick syndrome, who basically just bans anybody he doesn't like, or fucks with people's posts, or is generally an asshole that makes the entire fucking environment toxic. And note, again, sometimes the mod is right when an argument starts. However, usually the mod is not mature enough or responsible enough to handle dissent or to ignore people or to talk to people one-on-one in DMs. They always have to make a grand dick-swinging show of force and be a fucking cunt. So I am on the side of, in general, my prejudice towards these kinds of dynamics is that the mod is not a good guy. The mod is a bad guy who you either have to appease and deal with and get along with and stay on his good side, or you go to war with and probably get banned. But usually they're not some sort of good guy who's protecting people. They're just policing their worldview on the forum, which is exactly what's going on here. Fucking progressives are not the good guy. If you're watching my channel, you know that progressives are subhuman, regressive, asshole, evil scum with no morality, no sense of ethics, no empathy. They're just pieces of shit who believe a cultish religion that instead of policing what's right or what's wrong, what's good for the whole, they pick some people to favor, to infantilize, to patronize, in this case, minorities and gays and trans and all those fucking people, and queer, genderqueer, demi, fucking aromatic, whatever the fuck, or aromantic, whatever the fuck bullshit, instead of everybody. And in fact, if you present an issue, you will not be treated as, how are you presenting this issue? You're not being treated on whether you're swearing or actually being vitriolic. It's if you say something that is against the religion of intersectional feminism, if you show any whatever sort of aggression, with or without slurs, with or without reference to demographics, if you show any sort of aggression towards a protected, patronized, chauvinistic class like the gays or the trans or the fucking Tumblrkins, you get banned. You are the bad guy. You're evil. You're oppressive. You're vitriolic. You're a troll. You're an abuser. You're an attacker. No. This is naked, tribalistic, aristocratic favoritism. This is nepotism. This is cultish, ostracizing behavior. You are exactly what you claim to fight against, r/games mods. You are a bigoted asshole cunt who abuses your power and oppresses people in your little gay forum. I don't like to use that word oppression because it calls to mind like Nazis and commies and purges and shit. But I mean, in this context, in this forum, the bad guy, the fascist, the abuser of power, the regressive, authoritarian control freak is not the conservative or whatever the fuck, or are the Donald fags or whatever the fuck that they think is the problem. The problem is you. You, the mod, are the problem. But I've gone on long enough. Let's continue. This is going to be a long-ass video. What we see. Unfortunately, this inflammatory content is not an infrequent occurrence. The condescending, dismissive, vindictive, and pessimistic attitudes. Got it. This person is on the internet, right? You know how the internet is. You know how internet communication goes. I would say, in general, most communication on the internet qualifies as condescending, dismissive, vindictive, and pessimistic. Deal with it. But these attitudes we see in our day-to-day activity is troubling, especially when these interactions involve harassing or outright targeting regularly discriminated communities. Okay, I gotta stop doing that. It's probably getting annoying by 11 minutes in, isn't it? But I just want to show how unnatural and fake these words are. I can identify with even just holding up my finger, buzzword. Whenever one of these buzzwords come up, that means somebody's being an obfuscational. They're just not telling the truth. They're being esoteric on purpose in order to try to color and prime your perception so that you know that anybody who they put these words on is a bad guy. This is the same as basically using slurs. So in intersectional feminism, calling someone a harasser or problematic or whatever, or saying that you're attacking a discriminated community, that's basically them cussing you out. That's calling you a piece of shit, and thinking because they're using this coded language, these dog whistles, ironically, that they are somehow not being an asshole by accusing you of doing horrific shit that you're more than likely not doing. They're just fucking liars. And excuse my anger and my offense at this kind of behavior, but I don't like being fucking called a liar. Or actually, I don't like being called a bad person. I don't like being called an abuser or a discriminator or a bigot, because I'm none of those things. But not only that, I don't like liars. I fucking hate liars. And unfortunately, progressives run our gaming. And what's the catchphrase of the channel, folks? All progressives do is lie. Therefore, I'm basically incapable of having other than an extremely negative and hateful opinion towards these people because they're pieces of shit by nature. Let's continue. It's not uncommon for us to see the real issues surrounding these communities to be trivialized, derided out of ignorance, or worse, for the sake of entertainment. To that end, we want to show you, the community, what we mean by what we see. There's actual quotes this time. There are some of the more awful comments we see regarding transphobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, racism, misogyny, pro-pedophilia, and pro-rape, and vitriolic personal attacks against other users. I'm tempted to click on some of these hyperlinks that apparently are links to what I assume are posts that they haven't deleted or whatever, but I'm going to forgo that for now and continue on with this official bullshit message. These kinds of comments occur on a daily basis. We've compiled an entire album of examples. We have the receipts, motherfucker, of the horrible things people say on this subreddit. From bigotry to vitriol, stop saying the same words over and over again. This album merely scratches the surface of the magnitude of the problem. Get over yourself. Just ban them, just mute them, just block them. We've already assumed that your fucking tyrannical site is just gonna be fucking NeoGAF or whatever, so who gives a fuck? Besides, words on the internet cannot hurt you. It's your own fault if you let strangers who don't even fucking know you hurt your feelings. That means you were weak. And for your own benefit, not for my benefit, not for the world's benefit, for your own personal health. You need to get a thicker skin and stop being a fucking whiny crybaby pussy. Do you understand me? The internet cannot hurt you unless you let it. And like that old classic meme of shoveling shit over a wall, do not be upset if the shit is thrown back at you. If you're going to be this level of a tyrannical piece of shit, expect people to resist. So it's very important for you to understand that you need to stop being a sissy and just deal with it, isolate from it, or if you're in control like this mod, just ban it. But don't think that you're the good guy just because you have your opinion and somebody else has their opinion. And there are certain opinions that I'm certain are on here, like saying being a transsexual is a mental illness. They say that's a slur. First of all, no, it's not. Second of all, why are you stigmatizing mental illness? I thought you weren't supposed to do that. I thought we're supposed to show compassion to people with mental illness. And just because you have a mental illness that makes you think you are the sex that you are not, doesn't mean you're crazy, doesn't mean you're making shit up, although some of these people are, and that is a problem you have to deal with in your community, that there are fakers, people who have Munchausen syndrome and choose for attention to pretend to be transgender. We call these people non-binaries or NBs, and they are the actual people who make a mockery and actually, ironically, culturally appropriate the disease of being a transsexual. And just because you are a transsexual does not mean you're a bad person, or that anybody should hate you, or that you should have no voice in the gaming community, but it does mean that nobody has to care if you're a transsexual. Nobody has to just walk on eggshells or treat you with extreme deference or unusual respect just because you have a disease. You're not special. You're not more important. You are not an aristocrat. You are the same random, anon piece of shit as everybody else, and you need to come to grips with that. Same goes for gays, same goes for lesbians, same goes for gamer girls. Get the fuck over yourself. You're not special. In the interest of providing examples, we elected to remove the usernames from these comments. Instead, our intent is to show the stark reality that we face on a daily basis in the overall effort to provide a welcoming and responsive community. Preventing the cultivation of bigotry means giving it no ground to go to. What the fuck does that even mean? And as a whole, leave only space for those who would respectfully participate. No, it means for those who would show deference and capitulate. That's what you actually mean. Let's see. Okay, so we must closely examine our own communities in an effort to encourage acceptance and inclusion to foster a healthy community in which we value empathy and respect. We're going to pause before going to the next section and look at a handful of these awful comments. We'll start with the transphobia one. I think maybe I can't click on these links because I'm going to an archived page here. Yeah, okay, so these hyperlinks do not work because this is an archived article. We're going to skip that part. I can assume that some of these are fairly vicious, but ultimately just words. And probably some of them are bullshit, especially Islamophobia. Okay, Islam is not a race. Islam is a worldview and is a mindset, and like all worldviews and mindsets, is subject to criticism. Deal with it. And even you too, trans and gays and women, fuck you. If you're going to spend all day criticizing my race, my heritage, my nationality, my skin, and my gender, you need to fuck off if I do it back to you. Okay, it's either nobody does it, it's not okay for anybody to do it, or everybody's allowed to do it. It's a black or white issue, and you need to pick one. You fucking piece of shit. And as long as you're going to marginalize me, because make no mistake, in a progressive culture, white, straight males are the most marginalized by design, by the structure of progressivism, by the structure of intersectionality. If you are to repeatedly subjugate who you consider the oppressor class, which is not a group, which is not an ideology, which is not an action or a method or an organization, you say the oppressors are my skin, my genitals, and my sexuality. You say that by virtue of me existing, I oppress you, and your solution to this problem is to, by no merit, but only by virtue of people with other skin colors, other genders, other sexualities, other mental whatever the fuck, mental illnesses, you are going to prop them up, not by merit, but by virtue of their demographics, i.e. being a bigot, a sexist, a racist, and you are going to suppress me because that is your idea of a solution. So your idea of combating an oppressive patriarchy that does not exist is to create an actual bigoted ideology, bigoted framework, bigoted class system that actually exists, that actually does oppress a group, mine, and does promote other groups that are not me. So you are the Nazi, okay? Just so you understand, you are the fascist, literally, not metaphorically, not by a joke or by an exaggeration. It's not hyperbole. You are an oppressive, authoritarian scumfuck. You are the bad guy. You are the jackbooted thug who is stomping on some people and unfairly promoting others. Even if it was true that there was a white male patriarchy, the solution to that problem is not to oppress all white males and promote a different demographic. It is to eliminate demographic, race, sex, sexuality, and whatever the fuck based behavior and prejudices altogether, you fucking retard. Let's continue before I go on another 10-minute tirade. Do better, be better. Despite the strife that is both within and caused by our community, there is a multitude of opportunities to prove that we can come together and be a more wholesome, accepting community that exists on a single core idea, enjoying and discussing video games together. Only if they do it the way you want. Though the industry as a whole has suffered a great deal of trials and tribulations, whatever the fuck that means, we are also fortunate enough to be at a point in which there seem to be a glut of fantastic games, from major AAA titles down to near anonymous indie projects that come out of nowhere. So let's revel in what's available to us and also appreciate the myriad of backgrounds that we as gamers come from. Only the ones you say we have to appreciate. Our differences in experiences comprise the diversity in the content that we consume. By allowing ourselves to appreciate those differences, we change our perspectives and interpretations. This applies not only in games, but in life as a whole. So let's not let the good eggs go unnoticed, though there are plenty of you who, as members of the community, want to take care of one another. Sometimes this means identifying when conversation becomes confrontation, when discussion gets out of hand and turns to name-calling, slurs, or other degrading language. To you, we say thank you. You're what keeps us going. You're what we want to see more of. You're the people who are constantly being a racist, hateful bigot and getting away with wishing violence on people on Twitter and other leftist-promoted sites. You are not better than Nazis. You literally fucking are Nazis. It's also important to recognize the opportunities not afforded to everyone. What opportunities? Who has it not afforded? Listen, your black skin is not a signifier that you are oppressed. There are very, very wealthy black people who have never gone hungry, who have two-parent households, who live in mansions in Beverly fucking Hills, and there are white people in trailer parks, single mothers with 4 kids by 4 different men. Everybody has a different story because we are not collectives or demographics. My name is not white skin. My name is not male. My name is not straight white male. Hi everybody, my name is Darren. I'm an individual. My life experience is different from yours and different from other white men, different from other straight men, and different from other whatever the fuck. Different from white women. It's different I never will ever be as wealthy as Jay-Z's kids or Kanye's kids or Barack Obama's kids, nor will I ever suffer as much as white trailer park people, even though I grew up as one. I grew up poor. I've been to food banks. I come from a fatherless home. I have spent a winter with my house being heated by burning firewood in a fireplace instead of by electricity. I know what hardship looks like. I've never suffered extreme poverty, but I've spent short amounts of time homeless. I've couch surfed on family places. I've had to live with my grandma for summers. I hardly ever got to set down roots growing up as a kid because I had to move so fucking much. All of that sucked. Some of you know what that's like. Some of you don't. And I do not believe that your skin color or your sexuality is necessarily a signifier that you do or do not empathize with me. You empathize with me if you've lived a life like mine. And it doesn't even have to be exactly like mine, just like mine. And if you don't know what I've been through, I do not believe you have the right to judge me and call me privileged, or call me marginalized, or call others privileged or marginalized. You do not know me. You do not know the people you are talking about. You are a liar. You are making shit up. You are a charlatan. You are a fraud. You are an opportunistic, bigoted, fascist fuck. You are the bad guy, not me. I treat people as individuals, and if I am fucking rude to you, it's because I think you deserve it, and you are welcome to disagree. You're fucking wrong, but it's a free country, and you can fight with me, you can call me names back, you can block me, I could do either of the above to you back, and that's just the way it is. We're just two people. I am not all the colonialist, oppressive empires of all the white men before me, and you are not all the slaves or the oppressors or the peasants or whatever the fuck that came before you. You are you, I am me, and that is the end of the fucking realm of discussion. That's the end of the context. Stop lying. You are not a slave. I am not a slave driver. Fuck off. This privilege, marginalized dichotomy is a grand fucking lie. It's bullshit. It's important to recognize the opportunities not afforded to everyone, as well as the resources available to give them a helping hand. So this April Fools, we're asking you to take consideration in the idea of helping these organizations out. They're going to shill charities to us. By the way, folks, always scrutinize charities before you give to them. Most of them are scams, especially progressive-run charities. Almost always scams. Not always, just almost always. These folks, any person who uses the phrase folks unironically and is not some southern redneck or hillbilly is a piece of shit. That is a signifier of progressive speech, calling people folks, calling people eggs. That means you're talking to a fucking retard drone, a scumbag. These folks have made it their mission to represent and benefit those who still face their own challenges, obstacles, and prejudices, and any assistance they can get is another step forward to their cause. How many times have I done this? My fingers are sore. And then here's a giant list of LGBT plus charities, person of color focused charities, women's health charities, and shit about ableism. And that's the extent of it, folks. So, remember, I can't have a charity because I have privilege. What is privilege? It's a lie. I am being excluded from having specialty charities. A lot of people think it's ridiculous or corny or cringy to say, how come you can't say white pride? But the thing is, how come you can't say white pride? I'll tell you why. Because an unfortunately large segment of society believes a lie, a falsity, a non-truth, a fake, made-up bullshit concept called privilege and a made-up fake bullshit concept called marginalized. There's only two signifiers for whether or not someone is privileged or marginalized. And one is social influence, and the big major fuck you right here is wealth. There's only one color in the world that matters, and it's green. If you're black and you have green, you're not oppressed. If you're white and you don't have green, you are in some way marginalized or maybe not necessarily disenfranchised, but you are the opposite of advantaged. You do not have the privilege. And it's not necessarily because anybody hurts you, it's just you don't have and somebody else does have. And in America, which is, no matter how much progressives like to lie, a post-racial society, the only thing that matters is what you have and who you know. And if you're a black person on TV in a suit and you have $1 million in the bank, you are not oppressed. Your so-called black card is revoked because you ain't no fucking disenfranchised, marginalized, disaffected, underprivileged black guy. You're a fucking millionaire on TV and you need to shut your whore mouth. And you need to respect that there are people who have very little and actually are in poverty, and you need to have compassion for all of them regardless of their gender or their color. And if you fail to have actual compassion for people based on their innate humanity, and you only care about people based on their skin, you are a racist. Make no mistake, I am not kidding. If you're a progressive, you are a racist. You might as well get your fucking hood out, you piece of shit. I've said enough. This video is long enough. This was pretty fucking disgusting. I hate this shit. They try to pretend like I'm a compassionate, loving daycare worker. I want to give you a hug. No, you're a scumbag. You are a fucking scumbag. All of your language is a lie. People are allowed to be an asshole if they have a specific demographic. And people have to really fucking watch their words, yes massa, no massa, if they're a different demographic, because you're a bigot. And you don't actually care about vitriol. You care if somebody said a naughty word. You care if somebody said tranny. You care if somebody says fag, or something like that, or a poof. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. I get called cracker, incel, in mama's basement. What else? We got fucking nerd, geek, unfuckable loser, cringy, fedora tipping, fucking what? There's 1,000,001 slurs that it's totally okay to call me, whether or not any of them are fucking true. And you could say absolutely anything to me with zero consequences. And if I tell you, shut the fuck up, you're a piece of shit, just a straightforward, generic insult, I'm a bigot. Not only am I a jerk for swearing at you or raising my voice to you, but because you are gay, or you are trans, or you are black, or you are female, I'm automatically a bigot, even though I didn't use bigoted language. And if I use bigoted language, well shit, it's all over. But you're going to say whatever you want. This is bullshit. Stop lying. You know you're a fucking liar. You know you're an opportunistic piece of shit. Most of you fuckers who do this progressive game know you're lying. You're all fake smiles. You're all fake compassion. You're doing this because you're fucking playing the Game of Thrones. This is the new social fucking strategy game. And you know that you can totally get away with being a selfish piece of shit as long as you side with the right people and use the right language. You are the fascists who oppress others. You are the bad guys, not us.